What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another edition of The Dig, a series dedicated to helping you improve profitability on your farm.
Have you ever wondered what it would take to grow 400 bushel corn? Well, we kind of wonder that too.
Yeah.
We've been working on it the last few years. We've gotten really close. One year we actually did pull it off, but we're still trying to figure out how to consistently do that. Now, the good news is we are inviting you guys along with us on this journey to 400 bushel. I'm Aaron, this is Collin.
Let's dig in.
You know, Collin, not everybody's familiar with what we have going on down there at the 400 bushel
they're
plot.
not.
So I think there'd be some value in maybe explaining some of the history of the plot and then also explain what we have going on down there exactly and what makes that different from some of the other plots that we have.
So our high yield area is kind of down in there in that lower part of the farm that maybe many of you have seen on tours, field shows, things like that. Our plot is set up with 4-inch tile every 15 feet. We also have drip line down there knifed in every 30 inches. And that is how we're feeding a lot of our crop. We also have an overhead linear pivot, not a pivot.
Linear pivot.
Linear pivot, yeah. Linear irrigator to where we can do any foliar applications with fungicide, do any nitrogen applications through there. And a lot of that comes down to just cooling the canopy. You know, Aaron, but we've only hit 400 bushel once. Mm-hmm. Maybe go through some of the yields we've hit in the past, and you know, we even used to do 300 bushel down there.
Yeah, Collin, you're right. Used to, 300 bushel was the name of the game down there, but we wanted to step it up. So that's why we changed a lot of stuff down there, added in that drip line irrigation, did all the tile work, did some surface drainage work down there. 2018 was the first time that was really working as a system, and we grew like 385 bushel corn, something right around there. So pretty good yields, right? 2019 came along. If you guys remember that year, not the most fun year. A little wet that year, right? Yeah.
Right.
We didn't even plant the plot until June. Still grew 290 something bushel corn, which was pretty impressive for planted in June and 30-inch rows. We didn't do narrow rows that year. But then 2020 came along, and that's the first year we were able to hit 400 bushel. It was 406 and a half actually. That was in a 10-inch row at a 44,000 population that we were able to achieve that. And ever since then, unfortunately, we've been pretty good at growing about 380 to 390 bushel corn. Last year though, we did actually get really close to 400 bushel.
We did.
It was like 397.6.
We were literally, I mean, pretty much 2 years.
Yeah.
That's really all we needed.
Yeah.
Really could have used those.
I know. We told him.
In all seriousness though, Sonny Beck is probably the top person that is so engaged in this plot. He is down there almost every Sunday, checking out the plots, looking at those ears. He had pulled a couple ears out of the border rows that we have down there, and that was the picture that he was calling his shot. He was gonna say 6280 was gonna be the winner, and it was.
Yeah. Not quite 400 bushel, but the highest yielder from the plot last year.
Yep.
Well, that was a little bit about the past and the history of the 400 bushel, but why don't we take a look at the future and some of the things we've got going on this year?
And one starts out with our layout down there. Talk a little bit about what we're gonna change when it comes to layout down there.
Yeah, so used to in the past, we would devote some of that area to trying to quantify that drip line irrigation. So we did some studies down there with using the drip and not using the drip, and that ate up some of the space that we could have used for the 400 bushel attempt. This year, we're just using all that area for 400 bushel. We're gonna have more hybrids out there. We're gonna have more area per hybrid. We're really hoping to just blanket plant 15-inch rows all the way down there and then just some sprayer passes. So completely changing out the layout from what we've done in years past.
Last week, I was coming down Drive C, and I seen a lot of commotion going on down there. I seen a spreader truck, I seen a field cultivator. What exactly were you doing down there?
Did you smell anything weird too?
I did smell a little bit something funky.
Yeah. So last week we actually just spread 2.5 tons of chicken litter down there. That's something we used to do, but haven't done it for 2 or 3 years now. Last year through some soil tests, we figured out our carbon to nitrogen ratios are way out of whack down there. And so we started applying some humic acid down there, just trying to get a little bit of a carbon source in some of the applications we were making. But the litter hopefully is a really good carbon source for us this year and will help address some of those issues. And not to mention, litter, I mean, that's the best biological product you could ever apply.
You ain't kidding. And then you ran a field cultivator.
Yep.
Are you planning, is that it? Are you gonna work it again here closer to planting season, or?
Nope, we're gonna plant it still seed bed this year, so we wanted to work it to get that litter incorporated. And then in years past, we've noticed some compaction, especially in freshly worked ground down there. Planting in 15-inch rows, we are planting into the tire tracks of the tractor and the planter. And in that fluffy, loose ground, we've just noticed some delayed emergence. Plants don't look as good. So the hope is that after that, inch of rain we've had since we worked it, we're gonna be going in there, stale seed bedding in. Hopefully, we see a little bit less compaction on those rows behind the tires of the tractor and the planter.
You know, in the years past, we've, again, fed all of our nitrogen through the drip line, right? I mean, that's been our main source of nitrogen and nutrients, things like that. I mentioned before, we have that linear irrigator. Maybe gonna do some nitrogen applications through that linear application, right?
Yeah, so in the past, we've done a lot of nitrogen applications through that drip line like you mentioned. But as we learn more about hybrids through a lot of this root architecture research we're doing here at Beck's, we want to try a different approach this year. We're going to actually run a lot of our nitrogen through that linear and more or less try and water that in from the top down to the roots. So something we haven't done a whole lot of in the past, and excited to see what it does for us this year.
Yeah, so you mentioned 15-inch rows. You know, we try to get narrow rows every single year. You mentioned the sprayer track, so obviously that's for our pre and post herbicide applications, right? We can also maybe make some foliar applications too, some later seasons, right? Maybe that vegetative stage foliar applications. Talk a little bit about maybe what we're thinking about doing there.
Yeah, so like you mentioned, a lot of times in the past, foliar, we haven't done a whole lot there. We try and pump everything we can through the drip line, and so the thought process is this year, later in the season, even in the reproductive stages, right? Can we get out there and feed some stuff foliar because we have those sprayer tracks down there and just do some more stuff that way?
So yeah, we talked about what we've done in the past. We just talked about what we're planning in the future. And when you start thinking about some of the applications we're gonna make, those linear nitrogen applications, the foliar applications that we're gonna make in that vegetative time frame, and maybe even up into that reproductive time frame. Can we get a little bit more practical with what we're trying to do down there, but still hit our goals of raising 400 bushel corn? That is what we were trying to do.
Like I mentioned in the beginning of this video, this is the journey to 400 bushel. So we're gonna be putting out videos all year long throughout the growing season. That way you guys can see exactly what it takes for us to hopefully grow 400 bushel corn. Now, as we release these videos, make sure that you guys comment if you have any questions as to what we're doing. If you have ideas of something that we should be doing down there, we want to hear. So be sure to let us know that. Also, swing by Becknology Days here in Atlanta. There's a tour route that is devoted just to the high yield down there, and we'd love to have you guys along on that and give us any ideas or thoughts or opinions or questions or anything.
Aaron, we were doing some number crunching the other day, and we noticed that 79.6% of our viewers are not subscribed. So it literally takes 1 second to hit that subscribe button.
Yeah, so with that being said, don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit that little bell icon, that way you get notifications when future videos come out. And we will see you again on another episode of
The Dig!
Sorry, I just burped. Yeah, weren't you gonna make a song out of it or something? Well, that
hold on. I'm fixing my hat. Okay. I always hope when I fix my hat, you're like looking up the corner, you can see my arm up here doing this. Okay.
Hold on.
Okay. Let her rip.
Okay. Yeah.
See you later.
All right.